Hello, good evening, and welcome to another wonderful edition of Iron Port. It is proudly brought to you by Goil Company Limited, West Blue Consulting, Ghana Community Network Services, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Revenue Authority, and also we've got quite a number of important media partners, and that includes the Business and Financial Times. So if you get a copy of the Tuesday edition of that newspaper, you should read a lot more about the port industry. Also, you get the version of the schedule, the vessel schedule that we bring to you on this platform. It is in the Business and Financial Times. So you're able to see when the vessel that is bringing your cargo will arrive into the country. And that's very, very important if you mean business. Also, the Graphic Business, they publish quite a number of the stories that we discuss on this platform. On the Thursday edition of that paper, you should get that. The Ghana Web as well, if you click in, should be reading a lot about the industry, plus a host of others that definitely I will be letting you know. We also have a new entrant, a new sponsor, and that is Serene Insurance. Serene Insurance, if you are interested in insuring your trade, Serene Insurance is the best way to go. Now, they are new, but they're doing wonders. So if you want to test them, go test them. The best insurance for your trade business is Serene Insurance. Folks, this week we are going to tackle a very huge sub-regional matter, or I can even say continental matter, because the entire continent of Africa, we're trying to pursue a very important agenda that's a continental free trade area. However, there are some emerging developments that seem to be threatening this particular ambitious agenda by the entire region, and that includes border closures, it includes some economic policies that are coming up and all of that. We'll be discussing these subjects this evening, how they are impacting on how best we can assess and harness the potential of the African continental free trade area, and the guests are already seated for that particular purpose. In the meantime, number of news making important stories that are making news around the port industry. But before I bring you that, let's go take a commercial break and then get to see some of those who are sponsoring this program. We'll be right back.
Representatives of the private sector of Ghana have been deliberating on how to enhance the trade and business environment in Ghana. The forum, which was facilitated by the Ghana Trade Coalition, brought together participants from organized private associations, think tanks, academia, and advocacy groups to take stock of the recent successes and ongoing challenges in creating a conducive trade and business environment in the country. Participants called for interest rates to be reduced so Ghanaian businesses can be competitive with the coming on board of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The country head for CUTS International, Apia Kusi Adomako, said there can't be a strong AFC-FTA if the regional integration is very weak.
We talk of regional integration, we're seeing ourselves as one market, said that goods and services can move across the country. And so private sector have to take advantage of the regional integration that has been created, first under the ECOWAS, second under the AU, AFCFTA, so that whenever you are producing goods and services, you don't have to see Ghana as your only market. You need to look at your products and services beyond Ghana.
Participants had appeals and advice for governments within Africa and Ghana in particular.
We compare to those our counterparts in Africa, those are counterparts in South Africa who are borrowing at 5% and at 4% per annum. And our people are borrowing at 20%, 25%, and 30% or more to do same production. So in terms of cost of the production and the cost of the price, because we are paying so much interest rate to the commercial banks, I think our goods, no matter how quality it is, it will be highly cost, and we cannot compete with somebody who's borrowing at 4% or 5% in South Africa.
The forum concluded by adopting a joint position paper, which includes a few recommendations to decision makers to enhance private sector participation in policy making, among others.
The Tema Port Security Manager, Colonel Joseph Punamani, has met with both operators within the fishing community to educate them on the rules and regulations governing the seaport. According to the Port Security Manager, the sensitization has become necessary due to the fact that many fisher folks flout the port's regulations out of ignorance. The fisher folks were schooled on the various GPHA laws, permits and fines apportioned to each regulation when flouted.
Why we are saying don't fish at anchorage is that when you throw the net and the ship and those propellers entangle, you are creating danger for yourself. The propeller is going faster. So as you think you are dragging the net, now the propeller will drag you like a fish under the ship. You are endangering your own lives.
Colonel Punamani cautioned the boat operators to be circumspect in dealing with foreigners on the high seas, since they are at risk of contracting the deadly coronavirus disease and spreading it to their families and the country at large.
Everybody that engages on our waters, who go further, may meet those people, they want assistance, you want to help them, be careful. So that you don't bring anything on yourself. And when you come, first thing you go to your own home and destroy your family. It's a very serious disease, so let's put that one aside.
The canoe operators expressed their gratitude to GPHA and promised that they will do their best in spreading the information to their compatriots.
We also go out, set somewhere again, try to repeat whatever we've heard from here. Then we find means of solution to spread it to our people. So we want you to thank the authority for us.
The expansion of the port of Takoradi has been given a major boost following the commencement of dredging works on the multi-purpose Atlantic terminal. The dredging works are expected to deepen the draft of the port in order to allow bigger vessels to berth. The $500 million multi-purpose Atlantic terminal is expected to pave way for the Takoradi Harbour to increase its annual container capacity from the current 50,000 to 1 million TEUs. The Integrated Container and Multi-Purpose Atlantic Terminal Services is a build, operate, transfer project between IBESTEC, an indigenous firm, and the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. The dredging works began this month with the arrival of the Qatar section dredger known as CSD GPHA, and it is expected to be completed by April this year. The chief executive of IBESTEC, Dr. Felix Nanasaki, says the dredging, which is a key milestone for the project completion schedule, reinforces IBESTEC's commitment to becoming the first indigenous major port operator.
The contractor currently has almost 400 people on site, Ghanaian employees on site now, but as the project progresses, that number is going to increase. And as you can see, once the dredging is done, we are going to move to the next level, which is the placing of the blocks in the water, and that will bring in some more people in addition to what they have now.
Dr. Felix Nanasaki also added that the first phase of the project, which cost $210 million, is on track, with some jobs already created for locals.
This is the first time an indigenous company has gone into this business, and especially this sector. It has been a challenge up to this time, but I think we've been able to prove to everybody that it is something that we can do as indigenous people.
The director of Takoradi Port, Captain Ebenezer Afeidzi, said the dredging of the port is crucial to the overall objectives of the port. Captain Afeidzi added that the multi-purpose Atlantic terminal project, upon completion, is going to have a depth of 16 meters chart datum, which will make way for bigger vessels 16 meters to be berthed.
This terminal that we are building now is going to have a depth of 16 meters chart datum, meaning we can bring in a ship of up to 16 meters. It's going to have a length. The key length for the container terminal itself is just about 800 meters, so we are positioning ourselves to take our due share of container trade through West Africa.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has organized separate public auction exercises at the Save Bond and Atlas terminals in Tema to sell to the general public overstayed vehicles. The auctioning of the overstayed vehicles are part of effort to mop up revenue, which is in accordance with Sections 93 Clause 1 and Section 59 Clause 2 of the Customs Act, which mandates them to carry out that act. Members of the public thronged the Save Bond and Atlas terminals to bid for their choice of cars. Successful bidders were required to pay 30% non-refundable fees of the amount they bid as down payment and pay the rest within 14 days or forfeit it.
Our report will be right back.
Here's innovation from Goyle that takes you further. New Gold Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and Goyle has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricant that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. Goyle. Good energy.
Dear valued client, the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is now live to make it easy to track your consignment and know the estimated duty payable for both general goods and used vehicles. We are pleased to inform you that the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is available for download on Google Play Store for Android users and the App Store for Apple users. This is the best opportunity for all importers and exporters to know the duty payable on every good under transaction. You can reach the team for inquiries and support by calling +233 242 435 663. Send an email to support@ghanastradinghub.com. To remain updated, kindly follow progress on the following platforms: www.facebook.com/Ghana Trade Hub, www.twitter.com/Ghana Trade Hub, and ghlinkedin.com/in/Ghana Trade Hub. Importers and exporters can download the official Ghana Single Window mobile app, which allows you to track your consignment conveniently and also allows you to obtain your estimated duty for general goods and used vehicles. Please spread the message to everyone importing or exporting. The Ghana Trading Hub mobile app is now live. Download and never be cheated. This is powered by the Smart Ports project under the auspices of the Government of Ghana and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Smart Port, improving Ghana's ease of doing business.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered. So it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
Welcome back to the program Eye on Port. So this week we're discussing the impact of the border closures as well as some other national economic policies that have been undertaken by member countries within this region or within the West African region, and what are some of the impact those would have on the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area agreement that we have all signed up to, or we are signing up to. And if there are more economic policies that, for instance, Ghana is undertaking that we are yet to know about, we will also get to know about all of that. We're going to be joined by the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Carlos Ahenkra. He should join us pretty shortly. Carlos has been busy lately because, you know, he's a politician as well, so the grounds is not easy. Anytime he calls you, he's at a function or the other, you know, so you hear a lot of noise at the background. So hopefully he joins us in just about 2-3 minutes or so, and then he gives us insight. He's been leading quite a number of some of the negotiations that it will be important to get his perspective. Also joining us in the room here is the General Secretary for Ghana Union of Traders Association. No, what's it? National Organizer. Okay, so Clement Boateng. Clement, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Good. So very important when it comes to the traders' perspective, and we'll be telling you why it is important to hear from the traders as well. So also in the studio is Ziad Ahamu. He's the National President, Borderless Alliance, Ghana. Ziad, pleasure to have you in the studio as well.
Pleasure to be here. Good evening to you and your audience.
Good evening. And you also on one of those committees of AFTA that was just recently launched. What it is?
I'm actually on two. The trade policy and the trade facilitation. And I was going to say that, in fact, the Ministry of Trade and Industry is currently really busy on organizing and coordinating between so many different initiatives, and that many of which will start to bear their fruits very shortly. I know it's a busy year, it's a special year, and then it seems as if things have started moving at lightning pace all of a sudden over the past few months. And the fact that other regional issues are propping up now to hamper some of the good initiatives is worrisome. So I think we are moving in the right direction.
So what committees are you on?
The trade facilitation and then the trade policy, out of the 7. So we are supposed to work. One of the immediate deliverables that all of the 7 will be feeding into will be a national development letter, national development policy. And of course, we have to handle the trade facilitation aspects. We have to coordinate the various rules and regulations on a national level that have an impact on African Continental Free Trade Agreement and its implementation, in order to review some aspects of the agreement, review some aspects of our law, our trade laws, our competitiveness laws, and then to see how to provide recommendations and insight into how to improve things.
Okay, what are the other committees?
I'll have to look back to be very specific about them. There is one also which will be about the productivity. There's one that had to do with finance, and then there are a few others also, all in all, totaling 7.
Okay.
Different components of the, not only directly the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, but also on how to boost the productivity and the competitiveness of the Ghanaian manufacturing and production, and then how to promote and to boost intra-African trade. Eventually, we want to build the manufacturing and production capacity of Ghana as a country, so that later on we will manage to export our products and goods and services into Africa under the AFCFTA.
Okay. And these are national committees, aren't
Yes.
they? These are national committees?
Yes.
Okay, so they're just within Ghana.
Yes.
You are also, when are you privy to when we're supposed to have the Secretariat commissioned? And, you know, we have a Secretary General already, so Secretary General taking his seat in the office and all of that?
Well, the recent developments, just the past few weeks, let's say, you know that on the 10th of February, the 33rd Extraordinary Heads of State Summit in Addis Ababa of the African Union elected Wamkele Mene, a South African, as the first Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement ever. Now, in Ghana, we knew for the past few months that the Secretariat has been already earmarked, has been set up, has been more or less prepared. And then we have His Excellency the President constantly reassuring us that the preparations for hosting the Secretariat as a Secretariat are ready.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, I even heard that even the accommodation for the Secretary, the incoming Secretary General, who is supposed to be in the country, let's say first week of April. So we heard that the preparation to host him and to accommodate him are there. But now keep in mind that the Secretary General will not be working out of himself. There will be many support team coming in to help. Okay. Possibly when the Secretariat will be fully staffed, the team there will get swell to up to 200 plus persons.
I see.
Some of them will be Ghanaians, obviously.
Yeah.
Some of them will be transferred from the African Union's headquarters in Addis.
Okay.
So there is already a team that is working on the AFCFTA. Let's say functioning as an interim AFCFTA team. Okay. And so some of these will be also supporting the activities of the Secretary General. And eventually, we have set the date for ourselves that the end of March, the Secretariat will be completely ready, and that by the first week of April, we will start to have some kind of activities, or let's call them core activities for the Secretariat. And then, of course, the first week of July is the timeline that we are assured that the trade under the AFCFTA will actually begin.
Okay.
So one interesting thing before I end up is to point out the fact that the AFCFTA is one of the very few continental agreements to have never missed a deadline so far.
I see, so far.
So far, since 2018, when they actually signed the protocols, when the heads of state signed protocols, and they said we're going to do this and this and this and this and this, they actually managed to beat all of the deadline with very little differences. So we ended up, for example, submitting the 22nd ratification officially in the end of April, and then in the end of May of last year, the AFCFTA actually officially entered into force. Then in July, first week of July 2019, it was officially launched by the African Union heads of states extraordinary summit in Niamey, and then things were rolling since then.
Okay, so we're hoping to beat other deadlines as well, when we have Secretariat ready and all of that, and when we're taking over full control of activities around it. But the substantive subject for this evening, though, and definitely which links to this whole vision of having a continental free trade area, is the fact that we're seeing some emerging trends and some developments within member countries that are supposed to buy into this whole continental free trade agreement thing. Now, the chief of all of that is the border closure. The border closure among some member countries, and I'll cite Nigeria as the first case of study as we move on. Maybe if any of you know any other country that is also closing borders or hoping to close border, we'll talk about that. But Nigeria so far, they've closed its border since August thereabout. And their people are even now complaining. Traders within Nigeria are complaining. West African traders are complaining, Clement. And what it is that people are now beginning to express a lot of concern against the government of Nigeria. The government is being taken on for overseeing that kind of mess that's happening at the various borders. Products are decaying. They are paying truck drivers, traders are paying truck drivers more, 5,000 naira in a day for staying at that place. Every day. Yes. Every day, 5,000 naira. And then and the fact that the goods are also decaying. Now, somewhere along the line, and Carlos will be telling us a lot about it, I see him walking. So the perspective of the government and some of the interventions that our president is taking, and some of the fallouts that we have also seen about it. But Clement, West African traders are here begging the Nigerian government to send its decision to close these borders. what are you picking up from your membership? Not just Ghana. What are you hearing from traders also within the region?
Yeah, Samuel, thank you very much for having me. As you rightly said, even Nigerians themselves are complaining about this closure of the border. And, you know, some West African associations which have branches in Nigeria are also, you know, complaining simply because they cannot get, you know, their goods out of Nigeria to sell. And if you are a country and you take up or you come out with some measures ostensibly, you know, to show up your revenue, and your own citizens are, you know, complaining, then it's about time that you take a second look at the policy that you have implemented. You know, what amazes me is about the ECOWAS Commission itself, which, you know, when Nigeria, you know, decided to close their borders, initially, they didn't complain or they didn't say anything.
ECOWAS didn't complain?
They didn't complain. Yes, they didn't complain about the closure of the border until, you know, the affected, you know, countries started complaining before they came out with, it's even quite recently that they came out with this tripartite committee which comprises Burkina Faso, Niger, and then, you know, Nigeria itself.
And then Benin, I think.
Benin, yes, yeah. yes, Benin, you know, to go on a fact-finding and then, you know, bring its report to President Buhari. So they just went to see President Buhari last week, and then what did he say? He said they should give him some time before the committee, after the committee, you know, had presented its report, before they will decide, you know, what to do. And I think it is not the best. If you're a country and you belong to either a regional bloc or a sub-regional bloc, you cannot take a decision which will be at the detriment of member, you know, states. So it's about time, you know, Nigeria take a second look at this border closure and then see what it can do, because it is, like I said, it is not affecting only the countries within their
neighbors.
Yes, but even they themselves, yes, they themselves, you know, is being affected by this policy, and I don't think it is the best.
Okay, let me just take a quick breather whilst Carlos joins us, and then we can hear from the government perspective as well. Return shortly.
Here's innovation from Goyle that takes you further. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and Goyle has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. Goyle. Good energy.
Dear valued client, the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is now live to make it easy to track your consignment and know the estimated duty payable for both general goods and used vehicles. We are pleased to inform you that the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is available for download on Google Play Store for Android users and the App Store for Apple users. This is the best opportunity for all importers and exporters to know the duty payable on every good under transaction. You can reach the team for inquiries and support by calling +233 242 435 663. Send an email to support@ghanastradinghub.com. To remain updated, kindly follow progress on the following platforms: www.facebook.com/Ghana Trade Hub, www.twitter.com/Ghana Trade Hub, and ghlinkedin.com Ghana Trade Hub. Importers and exporters can download the official Ghana single window mobile app, which allows you to track your consignment conveniently and also allows you to obtain your estimated duty for general goods and used vehicles. Please spread the message to everyone importing or exporting. The Ghana Trading Hub mobile app is now live. Download and never be cheated. This is powered by the Smart Ports project under the auspices of the Government of Ghana and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Smart Port, improving Ghana's ease of doing business. Okay, so welcome back to the program. Now we're talking about impact of the border closures and other national economic policies that are being undertaken by member countries within this region and also within the continent, and how that would affect the African Continental Free Trade Area implementation so far. So my guest in the studio is Ziad Hamui. He's the National President, Borderless Alliance Ghana, also member of two of the committees, the national committees that are supposed to look at the after. Also in the studio is Clement, what is a national organizer of Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. And joining us is the man who has been very, very busy, not just busy for his constituency, but has been very busy for country as well. He's been running around negotiating, doing a lot of things, putting a lot of things on behalf of country as well. Honorable Carlos Ahenkra, Member of Parliament for Tema West constituency. Honorable, good to have you.
2020, that's good. Yes, you see, you heard him.
You see, politician. Politician. Small thing I said, he has tended to nice politics. But you've been busy. You've been busy. These days, anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere anytime I call you, we're talking, I hear a lot of noise at the background, sounding like some campaign stuff going.
Yes, that's true. In fact, and let me say a good evening to viewers, and I also apologize for coming in late. Like you rightly said, it's been like that for quite some time now, because we're entering into that time, that period where the primaries for MPP gathers momentum. I have no choice but to start running around and ensure that my polling station they still have faith with me.
But how's the constituency treating you, and how are you also treating the constituency?
Well, I would say so far so good. I was hoping that it was going to be a very, smooth, soft, open, I'd say,
easy
thing for me, because my main contender for the 2016 did not show up, which of course it's a very good thing as far as I am concerned, and the party also is concerned. But unfortunately, we have some
emerging threats.
couple of people who also have shown interest and who want to come out there and probably pitch their strength against Honorable Carlos.
It's always healthy.
It's okay, it's fine. Yes, it's healthy competition. This is MPP for you. We don't, do all those in other parties do. If you say you're strong enough to stand, you're ready, come, let's fight it out. Yeah. So that's what it is. But even though I know that my polling stations, they still have faith with me, even though I know that, yes, they really want to see me do what I haven't finished doing, I'm not going to relent in my efforts to just sit back and say no. So I'm always with them. I'm making sure that I'm not allowing any room
space
for, for space occupying lesions to take over and set their footprints in those spaces. So I'm always with them doing my campaign. I'm just coming from one of them.
Yeah, I heard, and you mentioned to me earlier. But on the national note as well, and I would say that even the regional bloc front, you have equally been busy, because the last time I know that you led delegation going into Nigeria on this border closure stuff.
Yeah.
Together with other people, and then on the African Continental Free Trade as well, your office not long ago launched 7 committees, of which Ziad is a member of 2 of them.
Which one I remember? Trade facilitation?
Trade facilitation and trade policy.
And policy, okay.
So what are the other 5?
We have, as he said, the policy. We have related infrastructure, trade-related infrastructure. We have trade information, we have trade finance, we also have trade facilitation, and we have factor market integration. And the last one will be, that has escaped me.
Okay,
but ideally, sorry?
Productivity, I think.
Productivity? No.
Productivity?
Yeah, productivity. Yeah. Productivity.
Okay. That's fine.
Yes.
But you, on the Nigerian side, if you can share with us exactly what the problem is. What are we witnessing with Nigeria? You have been there, you have been talking to them. What are you hearing? Why did we have these borders closed?
Sammy, let me try and do justice to this particular question. You see, Nigeria is a sovereign country. And apart from being a sovereign country, they also, I'd say, the big boys of our community, this region. They, of course, like to show their might anywhere and anyhow they want, of course, because as far as it's to support their sovereign survival or existence. But there's one problem that I see with this Nigeria closure. It infringes seriously on the protocol that we've signed for ECOWAS.
Okay.
And it actually makes negative impact on the ECOWAS trade liberalization that we've all signed to. But if you go into the merits of the matter, why Nigeria has actually closed their borders, it's unfortunate that Nigeria feels that they are not able to develop their local production of certain commodities. And also they were facing constant threat of, I'd say, terrorism, if you know, they have their fair share of what all this terrorism going on around the world.
Boko Haram and all
yes,
that.
and they think, or they thought, that the threat, some of the threat was as a result of people using an approved route to bring goods into their country. For example, how in heaven's name, or how, in what other way can Boko Haram access all these arms that they are bringing in? They don't have an airplane or airport anywhere up north. But they are still getting all these heavy machine guns and so on and so. It means that it's going through somebody's country and it's entering into Nigeria from the north. And
Boko Haram has been around for way too long.
Yes.
And whatever ammunitions, they have already brought them, if you ask me. They have been using them all this while.
Some for your information, ammunitions, the acquisition of ammunition is not a static business.
Okay.
Very
dynamic. Continuous.
Yeah, so it's continuous, and every time you're looking for more. That's why they don't stop the operation of kidnapping and so on, so that they get money to go and revamp whatever they have lost. So Nigeria thought that they should find a way to stop that. Number two, they were getting people infiltrating their borders with contraband goods, goods that they have prohibited from entering their country, and also goods which have not undergone any customed business, or have not been, duties have not been exacted on them. They realized that if they're able to put a closure to these borders, these two major things that I've mentioned were going to either abate or reduce in occurrence. So they did go ahead and close the border. And amazingly, they did not decide to close the border for a very long time. But when they closed the border, the realization of duties and taxes that they got from the ports actually incensed their desire to keep the border closed.
Hey,
why do I say?
How?
Yes, they were able to improve their duty collection 4 times per day, every day. One particular day, they made 9 billion Nigerian naira. We would say in a Kanayomode. And they have seen that if they're able to continue for a while, they would make more money. But they did this against the general agreement that at least goods that are manufactured in West Africa, which can,
access their market.
No, not accessing their market, but goods that qualify for the rules of origin should be allowed to enter without any hindrance. When they closed this border, we had about 50-something trucks from Ghana, Ghanaian registered trucks sitting there. But there were about 200 trucks, but some are coming from Cote d'Ivoire, others from Togo, and so on. And even some Nigerian trucks that are picked goods from some of these countries and going back into Nigeria. But Ghanaian registered trucks, we had about 54, 57.
Okay.
and some were carrying goods like coconut, for example. I mean, how do you expect coconut to sit at the border for 7 months and still be wholesome?
Yeah.
Some were carrying tankers of palm oil for some of the soap manufacturing companies and so on. When we had the opportunity to go to Nigeria to meet the foreign minister and the trade minister, I told them that this is not going to have an effect on only Ghana, but it also have effect on the people in Nigeria, because if you consider the fact that the raw material you need to do your production is sitting at the border and not allowed to come in, then how do you expect people to keep their staff in employment? So it stood to reason that Nigeria was supposed to sit and actually demarcate, draw a line between goods that are coming from ETLS countries and goods that are coming from ports, which other than Nigerian ports. Unfortunately, we've been going back and forth on this matter. The president himself tasked us to, ensure that we are able to bring this matter to a closure. About 2-3 weeks ago, we were there back in Benin, and we realized that opening of this border wasn't going to happen anytime soon.
I see.
So the president himself decided that if that be the case,
our president,
we should go and bring back all the Ghanaian registered trucks. Yes, bring them back home. He did not want us to leave anybody. He didn't want to leave them behind. He voted some amount of money that he doesn't want to hear. We don't have money for fuel. We don't have,
the cars are not in good shape.
Yes, because some of them have really suffered a lot.
All their tires were deflated.
Deflated. Some of them have their batteries stolen. Some of them have their diesels being drawn out and so on. I mean, that place was not made for anybody to sit there for a day or two.
Is there a park where they are?
Yeah, there's a park for trucks to park, but there's no, excuse my language, toilet facility. Yeah. There's no bathroom, there's nothing. Yeah. And these guys were just on camp. I mean, the first time I saw them, I was so heartbroken. And we have to find a way to report this back home.
Okay. So were you able to bring them back home?
We have started the process, and it's not that easy. What we have done right now is to ask the Beninois government for free passage back, because Benin is the only country in the West Africa sub-region that takes some tax on transit goods, and they don't have many or too much goods coming into their country. So what you do is, if you are using their corridor, you got to pay for it. Yeah. So in coming back with the same goods, you still have to pay. Wow. So fortunately, we paid a visit to the foreign minister, and we put our case across and begged of him to see how they could issue a free passage letter for the trucks to come back. In fact, before us, he spoke to the finance minister, under whom the customs operations sits, and yes, you agree that, of course, that Ghana is a good friend of ours. We cannot allow them to suffer this margin if they're only taking their trucks, but they think that they should allow them to go. Just last week, we heard that the letter has been issued, and we're going to fill the tanks of all these trucks. Some of them have their tires, like he said, deflated. We have to bring them back to life. Some of them have batteries stolen. We have to buy batteries for them. There are Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Trade staff there right now who are doing all this arrangement to bring our trucks back. The only problem we're facing right now is the fact that some car owners or some goods owners don't want their trucks to come back here. I don't know who is telling them that very soon.
I thought when we heard, I think along the line we heard that they were not being allowed back. Now some of us thought that it was even the Nigerian government who was not allowing them to return.
No, that's a different matter.
Okay.
The owners of the goods, and in some cases owners of the trucks, are stopping their drivers from coming back because they think that the border is going to be open anytime soon. But the soon has gone 8 months and you are still. And I ask myself, if you're a truck owner and you leave your truck to sit somewhere for 7 months to act as a warehouse, bringing no revenue, no income, why, and you have the opportunity to bring it back at no cost to you, why would you allow your truck to sit there?
Okay, so you are deputy minister in charge of trade, and you have been there and you've seen this. Now, for those truck owners who are also getting the opportunity to watch you now, would you say that there is any hope in sight immediately? There's any light at the end of the tunnel immediately? That looks like the borders will be open as soon as possible, for which reason it is even justified by these truck owners to still let their people stay there? Or you think it's about time we pull our people back home immediately?
Sam, I am begging the truck owners and the owners of the goods to allow the trucks to come back. I don't see Nigeria open these borders anytime soon. Earlier on, we thought they were going to open them. But from what I know and from where I sit... and
because you engaged them.
This is a very good question. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in Burkina Faso, we were in Ouagadougou, to have experts meeting, and of course, followed by a trade ministers meeting. And Nigeria was heavily represented, Benin was heavily Nigeria, everybody was there. The questions that were thrown at them, they're asking when they intend to open this borders. They said they've given some 13 conditions for Benin to follow.
I see.
And Benin was able to prove that they've done 10. Left with 3. 3 open, we would get it done. He said, no, until the 3 is done, you're not going to.
And the 3?
And it's so funny. 3, it's something
does
very...
it look like they can...
It's something, allow only goods of ETLS or ECOWAS origin to cross the border, which they say it's fine, we can do.
No, but at the border right now, there are some of the goods that still have ETLS certificate, and they are still...
They are still, that's what I'm saying. But
some of them are expired, actually.
This is part of the 13. The 3 that Benin hadn't done was the one that they were asking that they should allow only only ETLS cargo to come to the border and cross. The second one is that they wanted a custom to custom cooperation, whereby goods, before they even move from Ghana, if it's ETLS, we'll notify them so that they are ready. The third one, which is the most difficult one for Benin to handle, was that they should break all the warehouses that they have put up at the border. And these warehouses are not Beninois warehouses. The Nigerians themselves who have yes, and they have put out those. In fact, if you consider the whole case, you would see that Nigeria at the point, I mean, they have a case, but the way they are handling the whole thing is wrong, because at the time they closed the border, there was about 128,000 metric tons of rice cached in those warehouses, ready to cross through unapproved routes into their country. You see, and for them to allow that to happen, I mean, like put all those warehouses there, Nigeria is saying that let them break those warehouses down because it is the device that they are using to perpetrate all this illegality. But Benin said, who are we to ask investors who have come to put their buildings up to break their buildings down? Or who are we to say that, yes, because Nigeria has closed their border, we are using some martial law to come and break the border? It's not possible. It is by persuasion, or it is a way of asking them to use those warehouses for other purposes instead of putting goods there which will not be allowed to cross the border. Asking them to break it down will not be possible right now. But even getting them to use it for something else will take some time, will take a while. Nigeria will not budge. So because of just these 3 issues, Nigeria did not give us a time that they were going to open the border. It was a very heated meeting, represented fully by all the ECOWAS countries. So I am taking opportunity of this program to inform anybody that has their trucks there, car owners and goods owners alike, to allow the trucks to come back. Now, you were talking about the fact that some of the trucks were not allowed to come back, or somebody was. Yeah. When
is that coming from the Nigerian government?
Yes, when the closure was announced, you know, when you get to the border post, it's like what we have at Akano, what the borderless people have done. The Beninois side had finished processing 7 trucks, documents on 7 trucks. They were carrying coconut from here to Nigeria. So they moved from that point on to the Nigerian side, but still within the Beninois side of the border. But the documents were handed over to Nigeria customs for them to process, for them to leave. Yeah? They haven't crossed the border yet, but you have the documents. Just because of that, they are not disallowing these people to come back. Meanwhile, they have not entered Nigeria. They are still in Benin, except for the fact that you are handling their documents and ready to let it go. What kind of situation is this? Because, I mean, you say you won't let me cross your border. Okay, fine. Let me go back.
Go back to you.
You say no.
Take my documents. You
are taking the document. Okay, take the document. I just want to take my truck back.
Listen, what's the reason for them saying no?
Well, you know how it is. I can't put my hand. I can't put my hand on anything. But I think that it is beyond, just proper, reasoning.
Okay.
It's something you and me can think about because it doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. So we have made a special appeal to the controller of the Nigerian Customs. I've sent a special message to the Foreign Affairs Minister and of course the Trade Minister to tell them or ask them at least to release those 7 trucks to add to the 54 for us to bring them back home. And why would you, if they decide to even start their car and bomb them, they bring the military to come and point guns at them.
I see.
They won't allow them to leave that no man's land when they haven't crossed your border yet. You only have their documents and you are keeping the trucks at bay. I don't allow them to move.
Has there been some executive communication, executive here, I mean all the way to the president to president kind of communication on this particular subject?
Our president speaks to the president of Nigeria almost on any
regular basis.
Any opportunity that he gets. Recently, I think they were in a program together. Anytime they have any program anywhere,
has this issue of being prevented, even preventing these 7 trucks and being under threat, constant threat of military intervention here and there, has it come up? Because this shouldn't happen.
No, we think for that particular one, we don't even need a president to talk about. We can talk about that. So, like I'm saying, we made special presentations to the Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and also the controller. That one we can handle. President speaks about getting the Nigerian president himself to, see reason with him and open the border itself. That's what he talks about. But as for this 7, I'm sure it's something we can handle, and we'll be able to handle it. Right now, our preoccupation is to get those who have their trucks there to be convinced to move them out. After we've finished everything, the truck owners are refusing to ask their drivers to move.
Wow.
And now it become a challenge for us.
Maybe compensation issues. Who is going to pay for the truck? Who is going to pay for the goods?
What about the goods? Are the goods intact, though?
For the coconut, I can tell you, I don't think they are wholesome anymore. The palm oil, I don't know if it stands on the sun for all this while in a tanker, what state is going to be. They have other products such as
Cola nuts.
Cola nuts is in there. They have Wilma, products from Wilma, oil and so on.
Cooking oil and all those things.
And we happen to contact some of these people, the suppliers. Amazingly, they don't even know who bought the goods or where the goods going. Because it's like somebody comes to you, buys 3,000 cartons of your oil, he's taking to Nigeria, so they don't have anything to do with the goods anymore once it leaves their factory, because they buy on ex-factory basis, and they load and they go out. So if anything happens to the goods, yes, it's Woma, all right, it's Woma packaging, but Woma itself doesn't have anything to do with the goods.
Okay.
So, but we fell on them for them to see if they can get the owners of the goods for us. Because some of the drivers don't even know. Because some of them are saying that the real owners of the goods are in Nigeria.
Okay.
So they buy and they just go to the factory and get them loaded and send them. I said, okay, fine. So you come back to Ghana. If you have a challenge, we would find a warehouse and put all these goods there in there. When they open the borders, you can come and load and go back. But that time I would have negotiated with the owner of the goods how you get your money paid. Because you can be rest assured that even if they open the border tomorrow, the owner is not going to pay you 8 months of waiting or 8 months of detention of your truck. That is out. So if we offered such a nice getaway, bring the truck back to Ghana, put in a warehouse, use your truck, do go about your normal way. Whenever we are ready to go, whenever they open the borders, come and load back and take it in once you're able to solve the problem with it. I think because some of the owners are not even coming to see the goods. They are not calling the drivers. When you ask the drivers, say, when I call them, they don't even pick.
I see.
And we don't know how to even get them because the people are there in Nigeria.
Because I was going to ask you that, is it only the truck drivers or the truck owners who are unwilling to come back, or maybe the owners of the goods are also saying that, look, we can't just have you take out the goods all the way back to Ghana again and then have us wait because we need these products. And I just mentioned before you took your seat that we have the West African traders now protesting. The Nigerian traders themselves have also protested now and calling on their government to set up because they are losing a lot of money. They are paying some of these drivers 5,000 naira every day. They are also seeing some of these products getting decayed at the border, and they are not happy at all about it. So do you think that some of the challenge may also be coming from the traders back in Nigeria?
No, it's not a challenge. They are helping. In fact, one of the times when we got to Nigeria, there was some demonstration going on at the Ministry of Trade.
Okay.
And we just fell into it. So immediately, I don't know, they just sent policemen to come and surround us. And
protect you?
Yes, to push us away to another place where the minister has said to come meet them. But they are really, the Nigerian traders are really doing well in Nigeria.
Okay.
And they are asking that the government, opens the border immediately, because it's affecting their business as it's affecting business of Ghanaians as well.
Okay.
But the main problem right now is for the truck owners or the drivers to agree to bring them back, whether you hear from the car owner or not. Let me take advantage of this program and tell them, whether you heard from the car owner or the goods owner, the drivers must be willing to move, because the border will not be open anytime soon. Earlier on, I'm sure on other programs, but I've said that I saw some light at the end of the tunnel, and I was expecting that Nigeria would come up and do the honorable thing. But right now, the way I see things, I'll request that you come back. We're not going to use your truck as a warehouse when you bring it here. We'll indeed look for a warehouse and store all these goods in there, so that when it is ready to move, you can come back and load after you finish discussions with the goods, the owner of the goods.
Okay. I will come back to you later on ECOWAS, the role ECOWAS played in all of these things when it began from the beginning, because Clement earlier said that from the beginning, ECOWAS sat aloof, knowing that these things would have serious repercussions. But Clement, listening to Honorable on the state of things, and he has been at the forefront of things, and listening to him on the state of things now, how do you feel, particularly for the trading community?
Well, I will just take this opportunity to first commend the foreign minister and the trade minister, because when this issue happened, and our people started complaining, it took GPHA, to write officially to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
And then when we wrote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the minister, asked us to come and present our case. In fact, they even didn't know the border was closed.
Oh, I see.
Yes, until GPHA wrote to them. So when GPHA wrote to them, the minister invited us. Yeah, we went to see the minister, presented our case. In fact, she received us very well. And then she gave us 10 days upon which she might have done all the consultations and then be able to tell us something. Even the 10 days did not elapse. Within 3 days, the minister had to call us back. And on that second meeting, customs were there, immigration were there, the national security were there, and we again made our case, known to them, and then the minister assured us that they will do everything possible to try as much as possible, because our primary concern, was to get goods exiting from Nigeria to come back, and also those going, to Nigeria. After which, if Nigeria decides to close its border perpetuity, we are not against it, because they are a sovereign
right.
Yes, they are sovereign right. So after all these meetings, the minister had to even summon the Nigerian High Commissioner, to say something. And the High Commissioner also, presented the reasons why they have, closed the border. And then the minister, after listening to the High Commissioner, then the minister decided to embark on a trip to Nigeria with the trade minister and even a rep from GPHA. They went to see the Nigerian authorities there. And upon that meeting, that they asked the Ghanaian government to furnish them with the number of trucks and goods that are locked up at the border. And the Honorable Carlos and the Deputy Finance Minister did all that, furnished them with all the documents, hoping that, because at that meeting, the information that we had was that they were going to open some passage.
Yeah, that's what
for the Ghanaian goods, which
to
just go. You see, so that was our hope. That
and leave the others.
Leave the others.
Okay.
Because for goods coming from Benin or Cote d'Ivoire or those countries, that wasn't our concern. But our concern was to get the Ghanaian goods, exit, and then enter. So we were made to understand that they were going to open some passage, and then that passage never came. Yes, never came. So all this while we were, as much as possible trying to, put, pressure on our government to try to get those goods exit and then also enter. They did their best, but as we are all aware,
the best was not enough.
The best was not enough. I wouldn't say the best wasn't enough. It was enough, but the government of Nigeria is very much in transit. Yes, it's in transigence, and they are not bent on opening this border. And the information that we had is they are going to close this border
for a long time.
I'm telling you,
if they are making money,
yes,
as honorable
because at the end of September, when they close this border, at the end of September, they rake in 115 billion naira.
I see.
Yes. That was the money. So when they saw that their revenue shot up, then they decided that if that is the case, then this border is not going to open today. You see, but like I told you, GUTA is not concerned, or we are not worried about the closure of the border. Our concern was to get those goods, exit or enter, because after all, Nigeria is not a manufacturing hub like Ghana. We have a lot of options that we import our goods from the Far East, Europe, America. So if Nigeria,
so you think this is not disturbing you?
It is disturbing us a bit, but not so much, because like we go there, to buy one or two things. They also
come here.
And
their traders are complaining that they are not getting those raw materials.
Yes. But if they say they are not going to open, we have to find alternatives, and the alternatives are there. So we've advised our traders to brace themselves up, because the border is not going to be open now, as Honorable Carlos has rightly said.
That's strange. Now, Ziad, you are with this regional advocacy group and all of that. Then, looking at what is happening, first of all, I want to find out if it's proper that even for the fact that you are making a lot of money out of closing your borders, it is proper to allow you do that, as far as the regional protocols are concerned. If Ghana decides to do same, and Benin decides to do same, or Niger and all of that, are we going to be okay?
Well, that claim is a disputed claim about the addition, about making more money, because it hasn't. Nobody has seen the figures actually. So,
no, but the Honorable Minister said that the numbers are showing quadruple of whatever they were earning as far as duty is concerned from their port.
It could be, and that is why I'm telling you it is a disputed claim. It could be, because in the figures can be, the source of the figures can come from anywhere.
Can be attributed to other.
Now, there's so much that has been said, and there's even more that is left unsaid. For example, that same, in support of the Honorable Deputy Minister, that meeting that he was talking about on the 13th and the 14th of February, which was held in Waga, that meeting.
You were there, were you?
Well, I wasn't. I was last week at the ETLS Task Force annual meetings.
Okay.
But the same chairman of the ECOWAS Task Force was one, who is a former head of state himself, was the one
of Niger.
His Excellency General Salou Djibo. He was one of two presidents who actually had to force, along with ECOWAS, so that Nigeria will accept to hold that meeting in the first place. So Nigeria wasn't even willing to go to that meeting in the first place.
I see.
And everybody who came out of that meeting on the 15th of February was not happy. You can see it from the pictures actually online. You can see everybody was just...
Because Nigeria is still standing on its
It seems as if, it seems that there is a hidden... There's a missing clue somewhere. Because you see, now, if I want to summarize how I feel currently about the whole saga from August up to now, I am sad, I'm angry, and I'm disappointed. Because some of us are really committed, whether as representatives of civil society organizations or as government agencies or as unions and trade associations, committed to the regional economic integration and about its merits and virtues for governments, for businesses, and for people. What matters most in regional integration is the people. of the economic community of West African states. What maddens me about the whole saga, how it started, was the fact that somebody just woke up and decided that, you know what, I think today is a good day to close my borders. No prior consultation with government agencies, no prior consultations with economic operators. At least give people a week to tell them, after 1 week, we are closing this barrier. So don't come and send your trucks to come and lugger around forever and ever. Because it's true that it might be, the opening of the border might take a while, as Guta is saying and as Honorable is saying. But if you knew that that was the intention in the first place, so you should at least allow some kind of prior consultation. And then the other point is that the absence of alternative routing. If you have an issue of trade with Benin and Nigeria because of lack of joint patrols, or the lack or the availability of something like a bonded warehouse that you are using to smuggle, all of this is a trade issue. But I have this impression from looking through the media thread that every time a trade delegation comes to Nigeria, the reply is that it's a security issue.
Yeah.
And every time there's a security delegation that comes in, we tell them it's a trade issue.
Yeah.
Ironically, they were caught at their game, because now, for example, Nigerians would be restricted on their visa applications to the US because of security threats. So there's a limit where you can maneuver your way around unspoken intentions. Fine, I don't agree or dispute sovereignty. But legitimacy is also important, because eventually you are a government and you are that is supposed to be looking to the interests of its own people.
Okay.
And my question is that whose interest is being fulfilled by the border closure of Nigeria? Because I can't see the real stakeholders.
Whose interest do you think it is?
I don't know.
Because they cited a situation, and I think Honorable also repeated that that's the reason, the check smuggling of ammunition, threats against security. Also check infiltration of products that they feel that, their countries, they are producing same, and so you don't allow them.
Boko Haram threat, you said it yourself, that the threat has been there for the past 10, 15 years, but there has never led to an actual border closure.
The border closure is
I don't think it's the entire reason that was given. I think part of it is right. And let us admit, the smuggling is serious and real, coming from Benin. Benin is the world's largest importer of rice. Second largest.
And it is even.
And it's not even the rice that they consume. 12 million tons of rice. How many people are there? Are they 4 million? How can they?
But they're not consuming it. They send them
so
to
there is a threat.
Export it to Nigeria.
And keep in mind,
they store it at the border.
and then they sent it through the bonded warehouse, community bonded warehouse or something. So there are some issues that are actually undermining the regional integration in West Africa.
Okay, and that I will be coming to. We're going to look at whether their closure would have any impact, and I will take Honorable Carlos on that, whether the impact it has on our ambition to have a regional continental free trade. But do you also think that, because I have heard their traders saying that, look, their agencies have not been apt. If you take their customs, for instance, and it came from their traders, they say that their customs have not been doing proper job at the borders, for which reason there's a loophole, and you having all the smuggling of rice and ammunition and whatever it is. So if there was any option at all, it should have been properly
building for
the agencies and improving the agency rather than the border closure. You think the border closure is not the best option?
I've heard it said somewhere like a half joke when I was in Wagga, the fact that traders are actually wishing that the border closure will never end, because there are so many people who are doing so much more money from smuggling. Now that they have closed the borders, now everybody is
to the same country.
Yes, it's still going on.
The smuggling is happening.
No, it's increasing it because now they are using the alternative route.
You can tell that.
But that's what it is. It's like water. Water finds its own course.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you block it,
you just block it and you go from somewhere else, and you say, "Oh, I
can't go anywhere. It can't fly.
No?
It has to come in."
I see. Then it's possible that there's underlining cause of this border closure rather than just preventing the smuggling.
It could be part of it. And keep in mind something very important that wasn't mentioned yet. The Naira has suffered from some inflation over the past few months. And so if you have...
After the closure?
Yes. A significant inflation.
If
you look at the figures.
Closure,
it's not because that per se, it's not per se. There's no correlation. So we're just laying out the facts for interpretation later. But there is a significant inflation that is taking place.
Let me ask, Honorable, did you see some response from ECOWAS when this whole thing began?
Yes, I mean, ECOWAS has been in the forefront ever since this thing happened, and well, there's no way I can even say that ECOWAS has not been part of it. And
because Guta has criticized that they didn't see that kind of action from the beginning.
I can agree with them, but who is ECOWAS? I mean, you should find...
It includes Ghana.
I mean,
all the other countries.
Exactly. So if you see us going to the fore,
you are part of ECOWAS.
That ECOWAS is working. But for your information, ECOWAS is Nigeria. And Nigeria is ECOWAS. You understand? You know how ECOWAS is funded.
Yeah.
They're funded for ECOWAS levy. Yeah. Nigeria pays about 3 times, 4 times more than any other person.
Because of their population.
Exactly. And because of imports coming to their country. So
isn't
they fund ECOWAS.
Isn't that the reason why they can take all decisions they want to take?
Well, that is even not all. The ECOWAS secretary sits in Abuja. You're building everything. So
should be careful.
If you speak, you have to be careful. And there are certain things that I cannot say diplomatically. I have to be careful.
Yeah.
But for your information, ECOWAS have been very strong in this matter, trying to find some kind of conclusion as far as this Nigeria border thing is concerned. If you listen to Ziad when he was speaking, the eminent task force heads, the former president of Niger, actually has fought very hard to get this thing open. But the people who are pushing the Nigerian president seriously not to open. And of course, yes, it will be some heavyweights in Nigeria who are not allowing this opening thing to happen. And of course, obviously, if they can prove with figures to support the reason why they don't want the borders open, I'm sure he will be happy enough not to open. Because as has been opined here, the smuggling is still going on. And if it is going on, then why are you stopping some particular products? And you know, all this, the specific product they are targeting is rice.
Yeah, okay.
You see, now as I speak to you...
But they're not allowing other products to also go.
Right, the rice has affected other products. You see, and as I speak to you, Nigeria is doing a lot in rice cultivation right now. If you go up North Sokoto an area, they are using very technical and modern methodologies to cultivate rice. Even if it's not able to feed the whole of Nigeria, they want to be self-sufficient in rice production come, you know, the next few years.
So don't you think they are benefiting hugely in terms of, I mean, long-term benefit for their manufacturers, their farmers and everybody?
No, honestly speaking, if anybody tells you that they are not benefiting from the border closure, it's a lie. They are benefiting, any which way you look at it, whether smuggling is going on still or not.
But at the detriment of other countries.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, they are still benefiting, and that's the reason why they stand where they stand. But I would like to say that as far as the ECOWAS protocol is concerned, it's very different from the AFCFTA. The ECOWAS protocol is devoid of dispute resolution mechanisms. Because we thought that we're all brothers, we build the protocol based on brotherliness. So if there's any dispute, we use diplomacy in solving them. And like the president, then you send your emissaries there for them to go and speak it out. And whether it works or not, it becomes that bilateral kind of relationship that helps. But the president of Nigeria has expressed regrets several times to Ghanaians for the
inconvenience.
The inconvenience.
But that's diplomatic.
And they like to make us understand. I'm sure my ambassador even mentioned it sometime, but they like to make us understand that we know the reasons why the border is closed, and they are very apologetic as how it has affected us.
On that one, that's diplomatic. On that one, Clement mentioned the alternative route that they were proposing. Could that have been possible, though?
Yes.
A small route somewhere only for Ghana.
They were going to open a window, not just for Ghana, but for ECOWAS manufactured goods that actually qualified under the rules of origin to go through these borders. Ideally, that's what they were supposed to have said initially. Yeah. You can't just close the border at once and say nothing comes in, not even essential goods. We're lucky, I only got them to open some small window for some goods that were going for exhibition in Lagos to enter during the period of this closure. But aside that, no essential goods, nothing is allowed to cross the border. But the question is, if you have two types of goods coming through your border, which is the ECOWAS manufactured goods, which have been captured under the protocol as liberalized for trade. And you have the imported goods that are coming from another port, from another country through another port other than the Nigeria port into Nigeria. You can classify these two goods into two separate silos and ask that, look, we only ask this silo of goods to enter our borders. These ones, no, unless you come through our border. Then you put strict measures down, like you have done with these T13 conditions, a custom-to-custom cooperation, whereby you tell all the custom officers in, let's say, Burkina Faso or in Cote d'Ivoire and in Ghana, that before the goods leave your country, let the suppliers apply to you or inform you somehow, and you send information to customs in Nigeria so that we expect these goods at the border. Okay. If we see anything other than that, we're not going to allow it to come in. That alone in itself would help the ETLS to work. Okay. But now you've put a stop to everything. And we are all suffering.
Okay. I'm going to also ask from you whether this whole thing that we are seeing, now Nigerians are looking to us, or we are seeing them as being too unnecessarily tough and hard against all other protocols that we have all signed to. But whether there's something good in that action they have taken, which other countries may want to take a cue from, whether even Ghana, we can be this strong and firm at some point in time in the interest of our country and our economy. I'll find out that. But folks, if you're watching the program, you can also join in the conversation. The number that you can WhatsApp us on is 055-901-9177. The number that you can WhatsApp is 055-901-9177. The number you can call 02055-28353. 02055-28353 is the number you can call. Please do not call the number you should WhatsApp it. Don't WhatsApp the number you should call if you want to be part of the conversation. But Ziad, a lot of people say that, look, when it was announced to have the Azul load, for instance, that all the ECOWAS countries obey the Azul load of not crossing the 60, but Ghana, we first to implement this.
That was the first time.
That was the first time, yes.
Because it was the spirit of brotherhood that allowed Ghana to pioneer.
But
then we were...
And we quite often pioneer in the spirit of brotherliness. And in the end, we even realized that the Francophone countries never obeyed this till now.
Up to today.
Till today.
Up to today. It is
People have been firm. Other countries have been firm in the interest of their country, and we end up coming very soft in the spirit of brotherliness. Don't you think there is something we can learn from this action taken by Nigeria?
You see,
forget about what every protocol says and what every brother in the neighborhood says.
Two things. The first one, in the case of the axle weights, there was a misinterpretation between the regulation number 4 of the ECOWAS, of the UEMWA interpretation of the axle weight limitation, and that got resolved. It took a lot of time to resolve. Meanwhile, there was a lot of false starts. Today, the false start just has to do that people are afraid to go there first, so it stalled. But now there is a clear direction of the interpretation of the text. At first, there was a misinterpretation, so that is one thing. The second, I like to think that the saga with the Nigerian border closure has actually proven beneficial for the sake of regional integration in a way that was unforeseen.
Beneficial to who?
Beneficial to all of the countries that found their interests actually at stake because of the closure and because of the resistance from one of their community, let's call them neighbors. And so the other states, on the 9th of February, took the opportunity to meet on the sidelines of the 33rd African Union Summit in Addis to designate the president of Burkina Faso to head the fact-finding committee that is supposed to look and to investigate into the issue by Nigeria. And that is 14 states that decided to collaborate closer together because of the issue with one state. Now, arguably, Nigeria is the largest economic country in the bloc. 75% or so of the GDP is there. But then 14 voices count more than one voice eventually. There's only a certain limit where you can be the biggest
is ruling now, and they are benefiting at our expense.
I still repeat, it's
dangerous.
No, it's disputable. Okay. Now, the second thing is that on the 21st of February, the president of Burkina Faso, Prof. Mark Kabore has already visited President Buhari in Abuja in order to move on the fact-finding committee. Now, the meeting was a closed-door committee, and I believe it would be safe to say that you need to give a few days to find what was the effect of that particular discussion. But currently, there is a frantic effort of all the countries which are involved with the regional economic integration of West Africa to liaise and collaborate more together in order to speed up a resolution of this issue.
Okay. Honorable Carlos, my question will come to you as well. Do you think that Nigeria, somebody would consider Nigeria to have been firm in their interest, protect their interests, make some money, protect some businesses and all of that? When it comes to the case of Ghana, I mean, I'm wondering if Ghana had taken this action and we're getting all the bash from other regional neighbors, and how would we have seen ourselves? Looking back at some of the examples I gave with the absolute weight policy, for instance, quickly we pioneer. Anything that comes from the ECOWAS protocol, quickly we jump and pioneer.
If you remember, I was the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders.
Give at that time.
I really fought
hard against the absolute.
Yes,
I remember.
told them, if you start this thing, you're going to lose the whole of the transit.
Until today, the Francophone countries haven't come
So
on.
all the transit trade left. They just took their business away. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're not going to allow me to carry 40 tons in my truck to move from Accra to Paga, and Benin is allowing, Togo is allowing, why should I use your port? So they all left, and that's where we find ourselves today. So we are too quick in getting into these things. But anyway, let me just come into what you just asked. You see, what Nigeria has done is an eye-opener. But for some of us, or for the Ghanaian government, we think it's not a solution. It's only a means to an end. If you want to consider a proper solution, what you do as a country is to think about a single corridor procedure, where, for example, you will say, and we're going to do something like that very soon. For the textiles manufacturers, I don't know if recently you've put your ears to the ground. The national security it's doing its own reconnaissance and arresting some of these trucks that are being smuggled through unapproved routes into the country. That notwithstanding, the Ministry of Trade is coming out with a legislation. And when this legislation is promulgated, we're going to have a single corridor where, let's say, we say all textiles must come to the Tema port or Takoradi port. If it comes to anywhere else, I'll try to
be seized and banned.
Yes. No, as for the banning, the president is not.
It used to be done before sometimes.
Yes.
It wasn't the best.
The president says that, I mean, you cannot be in a country like this where people are suffering and they see you burning cloth. They will vote against you.
Okay, let me just speak Ima, and then I'll come back for you to continue on that one. Hello, Ima. The problem is, yes, good. So I'll let you are speaking. Speak loudly because.
Good evening.
Hello, Ima.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I want to ask, can Ghanaian traders ship their goods to Nigeria through ship instead of passing it through the land borders?
Sorry, can't Nigerians do what? You've got in there. Okay.
Ship their goods from Ghana to Nigeria by shipping them.
Okay.
That's what I want to ask. Instead of using the land border. If the land borders are closed, I think use the sea.
Good option. Good option. I think it's even an opportunity.
Yes, and that has been one of the solutions that we promulgated, in the run-up to all these problems. We are saying that, look, when you get to the port, or when you get to my colleagues, the freight forwarders, there are people there that indulge in what we call consolidation. They would put all the small cargoes together. If you cannot make a full container, they will put all the cargoes together and ship to their partners in Nigeria for them to break bulk and deliver to other people. So it shouldn't be a problem at all. If Nigeria is not allowing goods to go through the borders, it doesn't mean they've seized goods coming from Ghana from entering Nigeria. Go to the port, go to the freight forwarders, go to their building. If you don't know where to find them, just go to the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders building. Ask any freight forwarder you meet if they are able to show you somebody that does consolidation. And there are a lot of them there that do this business. Even if we had come back with all these trucks from the borders, that's what we're going to suggest to the owners of the goods. Look, we are able to advise you to put them in a container and let it go by sea.
Okay.
The only problem Nigeria is facing right now is because of the closure of the borders, there's a glut of vessel
congestion at the port.
Congestion at the port, yes. And vessels are sometimes able to stay there for 3 weeks and so on. And it is not good at all for shipping.
That's
and they just allocate your port
because
of,
I just heard
entry.
the Director General of the airports even asking some of the vessels to find
the
other
other
ports.
Yeah. But when you use other port, you cannot go through Nigeria because you have to go by road and enter the border. The border too is closed. So that is a major problem.
Yeah.
And some shipping lines are finding reason to be smart in all these.
How?
What they are doing is to look for hubs in the West Africa sub-region, hubs in some of these ports. They put all the West Africa goods there in that port. And they have, feeder vessels. Transshipping them. So the main vessels will not waste time sitting in one port for 3 weeks, but they will have a feeder vessel picking them. Like, for example, MSC, they have a hub in Togo right now. And as I speak, they're doing so very well in the Togolese port. All their containers coming from Europe, southbound, is taken to Togo, and the feeder smaller vessel would pick them and drop them alongside up and until I think Liberia or because they call it Senegal before coming.
So that's an advantage.
So yes, it's something that people can take advantage. And as I speak to you, I know perfectly well. Very soon you're going to hear it that even our own port, the Tema port, the new one that MPS has built, one shipping line is going to use it as a
the new terminal.
Yes, the Terminal 3. One shipping line is going to use the place at this hub to also deposit containers and do transshipment, which is best for all of us.
Okay, Kwame is on the line. Hello, Kwame. Okay, I think we've got a problem with that one. So you can equally send a WhatsApp message. The number to do that is 0559019177, or you call 02055283353. We're also streaming live on Facebook, so you can share your comments on Facebook. If you have to step out and drive, you can still view us on Facebook. But Guta, I asked Honorable Carlos about some of the actions that we take. Do you think this action that's been taken by Nigeria is something, there can be something to learn out of it? If one country can just get up in their own personal interest, individual country interest, take such a wild decision for themselves?
Well, if you could bear with me, Ghana has always been on the creek to sign up to conventions. If they go to conferences, or trade missions and our conventions that are to be signed, Ghana has always been on the quicker side to sign up to those conventions. Even if we talk about this AFT, Africa Continental Free Trade, it took a very long time for President Buhari to sign on to. I think he was the last person or last but one person.
Yes. And he signed. Yeah. So why did he sign if he wasn't committed? I don't understand.
He needed to think through it. He needs to take his time.
Don't jump to sign. Let's be fair to him. Those two are different. The CFTA is different from the ECOWAS trade liberalization. So that's two different things.
You see? So I think it's about time, whenever conventions are, promulgated, Ghana has to, take
its time.
Take its time. And if I say this thing right now, my honorable Carlos here will have a problem with me regarding these foreigners, regarding these foreigners. Yes, foreigners issue. Yes, this is what Guta has been saying always, because we don't understand why we have laws, which are made.
And we can be firm on them.
We cannot be firm on them.
Ima is calling us from Pokuase. There's another Ima. Hello, Ima. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hello?
Please go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Manala Bozo, calling from Pokuase.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, I think Ghana should do the same thing as Nigeria is doing so that our economy can rise.
Okay, thank you, Ima. Honorable Carlos, is that an option? Do you think it would be proper for some of these neighboring countries to equally do same to Nigeria?
We need to have a reason. You see, Nigeria has a reason. Their reason is people are going through their borders. They feel their borders are porous.
We've also had people complain about smuggling.
Well, the smuggling is still going on. For your information, I just had a trip to Aflao to check how this textile textiles get into the country, how cloth enters the country. The cloth is what people understand. And amazingly, I was told that nobody brings a truckload of cloth to this border for us to assess and pay duty. So how do they all manage to get to the market? So it should tell you a story. So whether you close the border or not, it will still find its way into this. So you need to use very special and tactical ways to solve this problem. Now, we cannot just get up and say we are closing our border. What are we closing our borders for? For what reason are we closing the border?
That's way too much.
And how is it going to affect us, possibly and negatively? You need to do all those assessments before you do. Just because Nigeria has closed their border,
then you too.
Ghana too has to close their border. No. I will tell my friend, what's his name? Iman. Yes. Iman, that is not a solution. Like that. It's a vexatious way of handling situations. But however, what we can do is to employ very pragmatic measures to win some of these battles that we fight against smuggling and, of course, using unapproved routes. Like, for example, as I said, if we want to stop these textiles from coming in and ensure that any textile coming from the west coast, the eastern part of our border, is not allowed to enter, we will do a single corridor entry, and that will be it. For your information, there is no textile company in Togo.
I see.
Some of our own Ghanaians have settled in Togo. They import the cloth to the Togolese port, sit in Togo, and bring them in little by little. Just like the Nigerians have done in the Benin border.
The Chinese
port,
right?
Yeah, they take the samples of the cloth that GTB has manufactured, printers has manufactured, and so on, and they take it to Nigeria and they print it and bring them here. The Chinese are not there in Togo. It's the same. Yes, they take it to China and bring them back.
I see.
And the Chinese will manufacture it and they will bring it. It won't come to Ghana. It will go to Togo, and they will put it there and bring it little by little. This is what we have to check. We have done all these studies, and we have some kind of scientific proof that if we employ certain measures, we'll be able to curtail this canker. And it's going to happen by not closing borders. No.
Yeah. David is calling us from Japan. Hello, David.
Hello,
David.
Hello, are you hearing
yes,
me? Are you hearing
we can.
me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, do I go on?
Please.
All right. Please, I am enjoying your program. Yeah? I want to react a bit on the issue of the Gutaman and what he's saying. Let me just react a bit. Please, this issue of foreigners or whatever, when it comes to this particular issue, the Gutaman there is always biased. I don't know. Let me tell you one thing. We all in this block, in this sub-region, if there are, I think the government is time for our leaders to be making laws, to be enacting laws that will keep our citizens within this sub-region.
Okay.
Laws that will make them feel comfortable in the region.
Okay.
And not laws that will be forcing them out.
Okay, I think that
laws that will be making them free from this region. Maybe dying with their members, the Mediterranean, dying while trying to cross overseas to look for greater pastures.
Okay.
Most of these things are coming from the laws that are being enacted by our leaders here in this sub-region.
Okay, so you think that we should put out the best laws to encourage trade? I think for the sake of time, I'm going to have to drop that one quickly. And let me find out from you gentlemen, starting with you, Clement, this whole saga that we are seeing with Nigeria border closure and the after implementation, maybe I will start with Honorable Carlos. And the fact that we are just about implementing, we're hoping to implement this after as soon as possible. Where do you think this can derail all of us? Because I've seen comments saying that it's possible that it can bring us back.
No, it's not possible. In actual fact, the rules that set out the AFCFTA are very much different from what we have in the ECOWAS protocol. Like I said, the ECOWAS protocol was set on a brotherly kind of fraternization. And unlike the CFTA, they don't have any dispute resolution mechanisms and other things that are set out in the CFTA. With a CFTA, in fact, we have sat down and come from a common grounds of committing ourselves to a certain percentage of liberalization. Initially, it was 85. We managed to fight to get it to 90. So the presidents of the African Union agreed to start from a commitment level of 90%, which was the highest that any union had enjoyed so far. The 10% was supposed to split between exclusivity and sensitivity. And we managed to put 3% to sensitive products and 7% to exclusive products. Now, we had a total tariff line of about 6,000 plus to liberalize amongst us. And we'll be able to identify 184 of it to be the sensitive and 429 lines to be exclusive. Okay. And all these are being agreed upon by the various countries and of course even the various regional blocks like the SADC, like the ECOWAS and you know, all those people. And we have agreed and put all this together. So once it kicks off, nobody's going to come back to say that no, I didn't agree on this, I didn't agree on that. Okay. We all go with the same documentation and the same agreement. The only unfortunate situation here again was with Nigeria. Mm-hmm. When we went for the final meeting, Minister of Trade meeting in Abuja, leading to the ECOWAS ministers meeting, we had a problem with Nigeria, who came back with a reservation that the goods that we have selected under the sensitive program, they want to include another items to 24 lines or so. I see. And the one in the sense exclusive, they want to include another 41 lines. We said you cannot do that because this is a whole regional bloc that has agreed on these lines, and for you alone to bring yours to additional 24, it becomes a problem for us. So we went back and forth, and here again, yours truly was mandated to settle this Nigerian matter. And I stood in very well, and I managed to convince them for them to agree that, look, this is a way, a win-win situation for all of us. If we are able to agree to move ahead, going forward, you see that what you're asking for might not be what you actually want.
So now they finally accepted that those
they finally accepted and now
sensitive items should include, yeah. Okay, let me pick Kwame Poku from Kumasi. I'll come back to you, Honorable Carlos. Hello, Kwame.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Kwame.
Nice, please. This message goes to the Kuta man on the set and then the Honorable Minister. Okay. Please, the border closure by Nigeria should be an eye-opener to Ghanaian traders that the government of Nigeria is protecting its local people. Tell the Kuta man, trading is good, but they should discuss with their members to start some small manufacturing. How can we import toothpaste, toothpaste brushes, which can easily be manufactured in Ghana? I was a trader 30 years ago. Joseph Obey was my customer. So when he tells the president that come from Kumasi, he knows that people tell him we should think of developing our country and build our own capacity. Okay. And then the Honorable Minister, who's on the set, I am his first person that he claimed by goods from the port. He was my mate at Gate West. I call him Brusco. So the moment I've mentioned his name Brusco, he knows the person is calling. He should try to, he's laughing. He should try to encourage Ghanaian traders to go into manufacturing, take our own destiny into our own hands. We can do something.
Okay. Kwame Poku, thank you for the sake of time. Thanks. I think that point well made. Honorable Carlos, do you think that what is taking place with the Nigerians could have happened under AFTA?
No, I don't think so. You see,
Nigeria couldn't have taken such
it's not possible
stance.
Because under AFTA you need to go under the dispute resolution, and here what would have happened was Nigeria would just write to complain about Benin's behavior in regards to border activities and how they feel it is impinging on their rights. The committee will be set. And the AU office, of course, after Secretary, which is here in Ghana, would sit on this matter and we'll find a lasting solution. If we find that Benin is wrong, we will slap them with a penalty. Recently, I don't know if you heard that the U.S. took a matter to the WTO and they won $790 million in damages. So that's what's going to happen this time. If Benin is found culpable, you'll be made to pay a very hefty penalty, and I think that because of that you will not even allow yourself into that kind of situation. So after would have been very different from this situation. But let us hope that even if this border is not open before at the end of March, the Secretary General of the AFCFTA has been appointed. I don't know whether you are aware.
Yes.
Young, very sharp South African guy. He used to be their national negotiator. Today he has, transmogrified, I'll say, to that position of Secretary General of AFCFTA, the first one indeed. He's supposed to take office by end of March.
Okay.
Now when he
by
comes
end of March.
Yeah, by end of March. When everything is
it means the Secretariat will be ready by end of March?
It is almost ready. Even his house is ready somewhere here in Accra.
Okay.
So when he settles down, he's now going to also sit down and look at the various spaces that he has to fill to get a full-fledged secretariat. Don't forget that he's going to come as a diplomatic corps, or corps diplomatique, because it's an AU kind of thing. So as far as we are concerned, once that kicks in, the matter can be transferred from ECOWAS to AU, and AU will look into this and see if they can work on it retroactively or taking it from behind to see if they can take it on board and take it as a first case. I know that countries are going to make representation to the AU to handle this matter when the CFTA kicks in from July 1st, when the heads of nations sit and okay for it to take over.
And prior to that, Guta, what advice would you give looking at the...
No, but don't before you come there, the gentleman who called was given an advice to Guta members. That Guta members should try and move from being importers or just importers to manufacturers. And I think that is something that they are even thinking about already. I've had occasion to speak to a couple of them, and many of them think that at a point they have to do manufacturing, which is a very good thing. So that gentleman is a very good friend of mine. In fact, we're schoolmates.
Oh, I see. That's why
he's been an entrepreneur for a very long time. We're just a group of friends, and all of us were entrepreneurs even when we were in school. And I really cherish the way he has brought himself up. I mean, he used to bring pegs and hangers and so on from Cote d'Ivoire, and now he went to Nigeria. When people were not even going to China, he was going to Hong Kong and bringing all this, I don't know, Ventura and things like that. I tell you, his Baskuna is a
wild guy.
Today he manufactures the hangers and pegs.
It's just like you also started from that corner, and today you are running things. So, Guta, ahead of the July 1st, before the implementation of this after-whole business, what are your expectations, and then what advice would you also want to share with?
Well, manufacturing is the ultimate of every trader. You can start from tabletop, you move on to shop, then eventually
you manufacture.
Currently our
president.
No, not our president. Our even first vice in charge of operations. Yeah, he's into manufacturing, and he also into retail. So he's called Charles Young.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we are all, bracing ourselves for this CFTA, and I'm glad that Honorable Carlos has made us known that the protocols and the guidelines regarding the CFTA is different from the protocols of ECOWAS, because we were looking at the point of migration, where one country can relocate en bloc to another country, and that is currently what ECOWAS is experiencing, because we have one country who have a large population. If you go to all the ECOWAS states now, you could find those countries' citizens in a larger population. But even if we come to the ECOWAS protocol just allows you a number of this, that's within which you must do whatever business that you are doing, and then you revert back to your country. So I'm glad, you know, the CFTA has its own protocols and regulations that you have to abide by it. And GUTA, you know, is bracing itself, you know, when this CFTA comes into operation. And I think we are very much happy with it, and we will go with it.
Okay, so this one says, hello gentlemen, my name is Kelly Roxon. I sincerely believe that the reason why Nigeria border remain shut down is due to coronavirus and illegal business activities coming to Nigeria every day. People believe Nigeria is the most popular country in Africa, and that they can negatively persuade them for the purpose of their own benefit and interest. Even in Ghana, we have laws that govern the interests of the people, so you guys should allow the law to work. Nigerians are making names, especially in North and South Carolina, USA, where the majority population are blacks. Now, this is coming up from a foreign number, so I guess. Another one says, hello, gents, good evening. My name is Dia Jomoho Lawson, and I am a Nigerian who is visiting Ghana for a training. The issue of the closure of the border, I must say, is a topical issue as well in Nigeria, and I must say that the present government in Nigeria has lost it. We, the citizens, are completely against the border closure, rushed, and the core reason, which I think is self-serving, is just to protect the interest of the present government and his cohort, who are all farmers. On that note, I'm going to pick some of the news that are running around the world, including coronavirus news, and then we'll be back and wrap up.
International Chamber of Shipping, ICS, has revealed that the impact of the outbreak of the coronavirus is estimated to be costing the shipping industry $350 a week in lost revenues. The virus outbreak is having a significant impact on the shipping sector, and the industry is working closely with the World Health Organization to ensure that guidelines for industry and government help limit the spread of the virus whilst maintaining international trade. As such, the ICS Secretary General is leading a delegation of industry leaders to meet with WHO in Geneva and discuss the impact of the COVID-19 on the industry. ICS estimates that more than 350 boxes have been removed from global trade as a result of the outbreak. According to data from the UK-based consultancy Drewry, Ocean Carriers cancelled about 105 sailings on the routes from Asia to North America and Europe alone in February 2020. Carriers are blanking sailings as a way of dealing with the cargo volume slump caused by the coronavirus outbreak originating from China and the closure of manufacturing plants in the country as a precautionary measure. All of the Chinese ports, apart from Wuhan, have remained opened. However, they are not operating at full capacity, with staff shortages arising from travel restrictions and quarantine measures. Extended factory shutdowns have also limited movement of cargoes destined for those ports, and when monthly port throughput data is finally released, Drewry predicts there will be a significant shortfall.
9 ocean carriers and terminal operators have signed a shareholders agreement indicating their intention to become shareholders of the proposed global shipping business network. The signing of the agreement symbolized the conclusion of an important step towards the GSBN's official establishment. The GSBN aims to provide a platform for the shipping supply chain participants to work collaboratively to accelerate the digital transformation of the shipping industry.
Okay, welcome back. We've been talking about the impact of the border closures and in Nigeria, and also looking at after its impact on after and all of that. What I want to find out from the gentleman in the studio, maybe starting with you, Honorable Deputy Minister, will be the Economic Partnership Agreement. We hear that there's an interim EPA agreement that we have signed as a country as part of our economic policies. Is that true?
Yeah, that is very true. In actual fact, I think that we came to meet this
EPA
agreement, which was signed by the previous government somewhere in 2015 or so.
Oh, it was signed in 2015?
It was signed in 2015, but it's an interim agreement because the West African bloc, or the regional bloc, refused to sign as a bloc. And Nigeria especially did not want to get into it or be part of it. So we, and if I say we, I mean Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, decided to sign for the sake of our banana exporters and other exporters that send their goods to the EU.
Only those?
Yeah, only
banana exporters?
No, banana, canned tuna, and so on and so forth. A lot of it go to
those that are going to the European
countries. The European countries. What this interim agreement says is that you've been shipping to our countries for a very long time, quota-free, duty-free. It's time we also ship our goods to your country, quota-free, duty-free. And so very soon, you're going to see goods coming from Europe, or Guta will go and buy goods from Europe and bring it to Ghana, and they won't pay duty, and they won't have suffer any quantity restrictions to bring them in. In fact, it was a very difficult thing for us to hold on to, because you know, Ghana is an import or revenue reliant country, and many of the things that we do, we use revenue accumulating from these import revenues to do them. Now that we're going to have this difficulty in even receiving money from the EU, or duties on goods from the EU to develop our country, how are we going to manage? But we didn't have a choice. We had to sit with it and look for ways to actually develop this country. So now we have started the liberalization according to our agreement. We've started with a 0% rated goods. So as we speak, the 2020, if you remember, I think the finance minister even mentioned in his budget statement last year, November, 2020 we are going to commence the liberalization of these trade. Well, 2021 we are going to enter into some 5%, some 10%, and some 20% items, and so on and so forth.
But how does all these sit with the after arrangement as well? Because you are looking to trade a lot more among yourselves within the country here, the region here. Now you are signing partnership agreements with Europe, with quota-free, and you don't import as much, you don't export as much as they will export.
We export. We export a lot.
As much?
Yes.
We're talking bananas and talking some canned
fish. We're doing about 5 billion in banana exports to Europe, and probably half that amount of canned tuna also to the same destination.
Compared to what they bring, do you think?
Well, compared to what people go there to bring, if I look at the statistics, I think the balance of trade will be in our favor if UK is not part of them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, the balance of payment will be in our favor. It means that we'll be exporting more than they will be.
And obviously UK is no longer part.
Yes, but UK is also asking for its own trade agreement, which we are working on right now. And we would, very soon we're going to come to some kind of conclusion on that one. But right now, what I want traders to understand, and we are going to come with some sensitization, regional sensitization from the northern region all the way upper and all the way to Accra, to educate our traders, our manufacturers on this new
EPA agreement you have
signed. EPA agreement that has been signed. No, we haven't signed.
That has been signed by the country.
Signed by Ghana, and how it's going to affect people, especially manufacturers, local manufacturers. So we also, in our own way, are looking for ways and means to cushion the local manufacturer in regards to these imports coming in duty-free and supporting them somehow for them to stay afloat.
Okay.
You see, the reason why it's dangerous is the fact that if you're not careful, even the manufacturer himself might stop manufacturing and go out there and
bring, yes.
And that would affect our brothers and sisters who are working, who are there as employees. Because one thing government actually looks out for, and the reason we industrialize, is to get work for our people.
Yeah.
And if you allow the goods to be manufactured outside and brought in, the only
duty-free on top.
Duty-free on top. The only privilege that a Ghanaian will get is the laborers who will unstop the goods from the container into the warehouse. You've created job for people all the way on that supply chain, all the way from the country of origin to the country of destination. So it's a very difficult task that we have put ourselves through. But as a country, we're not going to challenge it. We're not going to put a stop to it. The president says that if it's a mess, he will fix it. And I know that we'll be able to fix it.
But do you see it as a mess? That we had no choice but to engage in.
I will not sit on TV. That's not TV.
And admit that.
And admit that it's a mess. Diplomatically, it's wrong.
Okay.
But I would say that it's a difficult task that we have to survive.
That's
but on the back of that, what the EU has done is to give us a grant to even do the stakeholders consultation, sensitization.
Oh, that one. They know. They know
because they don't want any problem. They want everybody to understand, and they want everybody to agree. I want to believe that in getting up to that point, the past government that signed the agreement actually did some sensitization with the.
Were you involved?
No. I don't have to the best of my ability.
You don't even know that EPA has been signed.
I
don't know that it has been signed.
No.
This is your first time hearing this.
No, I don't know. It
has
been signed.
And I'm sure many people are in.
And these are the executives.
Yes, and I also think it is not going to be a wholesale approach. Maybe it will cover some limited number of items. It is not every item that is going to be.
We have 6,000 lines.
6,000 lines.
That we are supposed to liberalize.
That's a lot.
You wait till we start the sensitization, then we'll hear from them. But now we cannot reverse it. So don't come and beat us to reverse it. Stop us.
Ziad, what do you make of this? And we will end on you.
Look, I'm trying not to overstep within the area of interest of the Borderless Alliance in promoting the free movement of goods and people. And obviously, I have no problem per se with manufactured goods. But I have a problem with, let's say, light industries that would compete directly with what we want to begin to produce and grow ourselves in order to trade across Africa. Because I thought that the idea was actually to change the narrative away from the
a lot of imports.
old outside-driven import or export. And now keep in mind that there's a lot of heavy equipment and industries and specialized equipment which we are not very soon to start doing this ourselves. And so if the trade-off somewhere, I know that the Honorable Deputy Minister is saying we can't reverse, but at least we can tune it somehow in a way that
it's been signed, the terms have been agreed upon by the country.
That is what I'm trying to say.
So you can't fine-tune.
But that is why you have lobby groups. So we are not a lobby group, but I'm sure that people
it could have been done. Lobbying should have been done way before signing.
I would have preferred.
You don't agree, Honorable
I
Minister?
agree. That's what
I would have preferred prior engagement and prior stakeholder consultation, but that wasn't done. So, as within the area of heavy industries and specialized equipment, it shouldn't be a lot of the problem. But then when the European imported goods will start to compete with the African goods,
which is highly possible.
That will actually pose a serious concern to the implementation of AFCFTA.
The lines again, you said it's
6,000 plus.
Okay,
I can give you the actual number when I get to it.
Okay, so over 6,000 lines involved with this
liberalization,
the EPA sign in there, and you've heard it here. We're hoping that, Honorable, as he said, a lot of engagement will go on because it's the first time a lot of people are hearing this. Good. A lot of people didn't know that the country has signed to this EPA.
Give us a slot on your program.
No worries.
I'll send my experts to come here and talk to the.
As for you and this platform is like. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming. That's Honorable Deputy Minister in charge of Trade and Industry. He's also a member of Parliament for Tema West, always getting busy for country, getting busy for constituency. His name is Honorable Carlos Ahinkrap. Also with us is Clement Boateng. He's the national organizer for Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. And then Ziad Hamu is the National President, Borderless Alliance, Ghana, also serving on 2 committees of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We discussed the impact of border closures and national economic policies that include the EPA that we have signed to, and the impact that that would have on the African Continental Free Trade Area agreement we have all signed to. See you same time next week.